Never argue with a woman. Do this instead. They say never argue with a woman, not because she's always right, but because arguing turns communication into competition. And no one wins when love starts keeping score. You can be correct and still lose the connection. You can win the point and lose the peace. So, if you've ever found yourself in that emotional battlefield where logic doesn't land and frustration starts to rise, here's the truth. The goal isn't to win the argument, it's to protect the relationship. See, when emotions run high, logic takes a vacation, and women, especially emotionally intelligent ones, don't argue for dominance, they argue to be understood. Most men miss this completely. They respond to emotional expression with rational explanation, which sounds helpful in theory, but in practice, it just pours gasoline on the fire, because she doesn't want a debate. She wants validation. Let's break that down. Imagine she says, "You never listen to me." You immediately start defending yourself. "That's not true. I'm listening right now." Logically, you're right. Emotionally, you just proved her point. Why? Because she didn't literally mean never. She meant, "I feel unheard lately." The fastest way to end that cycle is not by arguing semantics, but by addressing the feeling underneath the words. Try saying, "You're right, maybe I've been distracted lately. I want to hear you. What's on your mind?" Boom, tension drops instantly. She softens because you stopped fighting her and started seeing her. Arguing in most relationships is a defense mechanism. It's what happens when one person feels unseen. But validation disarms defensiveness. It's emotional judo, using understanding, not resistance, to deflect the energy. Instead of matching her frustration with yours, match her emotion with empathy. That's not weakness, that's mastery. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "So, I'm just supposed to agree with everything she says?" No. That's not the point. This isn't about submission. It's about strategy. Strong men don't argue to be right. They listen to stay connected. You can disagree respectfully and still make her feel valued. The key is tone, timing, and self-control. For example, when she's angry, that's not the moment to hit her with logic. Logic only works when emotions are calm. During heat, validation is the only language that works. You can't fix emotional storms with rational umbrellas. The right move is to slow it down. Lower your voice instead of raising it. Silence your ego instead of defending it. Because the moment you tried to win, you've already lost the emotional game. Let's be real. Women are wired differently when it comes to conflict. While most men view arguments as problems to solve, women experience them as disconnections to repair. So when she brings something up that feels small to you, remember that it's not about the content. It's about the connection. She's not complaining about the dishes, she's expressing, "I feel unseen." You might think she's overreacting, but in her world, small neglects add up like emotional debt. If you really want to master this dynamic, understand this: validation is not agreement. You don't have to agree with her feelings to acknowledge them. If she says, "You don't care about me," don't respond. That's ridiculous. Try, "I can see why you'd feel that way if it seemed like I wasn't present." You're not saying she's right. You're saying her feelings are valid. That distinction alone can de-escalate 90% of arguments before they turn into wars. And here's another thing. Never match her intensity. The moment you both start yelling, nobody's listening. Instead, practice emotional leadership. Stay calm. Let your composure speak louder than your frustration. Because the one who controls his emotions controls the direction of the conversation. Women respect emotional control more than dominance. It shows strength, not submission. Now let's talk about timing. One of the biggest mistakes men make is trying to fix things too soon. When she's emotional, don't jump straight to solutions. That's like trying to put out a fire by explaining the chemistry of water. It doesn't work. She's not ready to fix. She's ready to be heard. When she's venting, don't interrupt, don't correct, don't rush her. Just listen, nod, maintain eye contact. When she finishes, say, "That sounds tough. I didn't realize it felt that way for you." That one sentence is worth more than 100 logical rebuttals. Another secret: don't take emotional language literally. When she says, "You always do this," or "You never care," she's not drafting a legal statement. She's expressing emotional exaggeration. Arguing the accuracy of always or never misses the emotional meaning behind it. She's not making a statistic. She's making a statement about how she feels right now. The worst thing you can do is get defensive. Defensiveness tells her you care more about protecting your ego than understanding her experience. Instead of defending, reflect. Say, "I didn't realize I was doing that. Tell me what it feels like when I do." That instantly turns conflict into connection. You're showing humility. And humility in the middle of tension is power. Now, here's the paradox. When you stop trying to win arguments, you start winning respect. Because a woman who feels safe being emotional around you starts trusting you deeply. She stops walking on eggshells, stops testing your patience, and starts relaxing into your presence. You stop being her opponent and start being her peace. That's when the relationship shifts from survival mode to growth mode. Another thing that helps: use touch, not tension. If the argument isn't too heated, a gentle touch on her hand or back can physically remind her that you're on the same team. But if she pulls away, respect that. Don't push physical contact when she needs emotional space. The right touch at the right time says, "We're still okay," without needing a single word. And don't underestimate humor, not sarcasm, not mockery, but gentle humor. A well-timed, light-hearted comment can break emotional tension like a pressure valve. It's not about dismissing her feelings. It's about reminding both of you that this moment doesn't define everything. When laughter re-enters the room, connection follows. But let's address the other side. What if she's actually being unfair or manipulative? Then what? Simple. Don't engage emotionally. Stay grounded. The most powerful response to emotional manipulation is calm detachment. You don't mirror her chaos. You mirror composure. You don't have to match her energy. You manage it. Respond slowly, with intention, and keep your boundaries firm. Emotional maturity is the shield that keeps toxic dynamics from taking root. Remember this: arguments are rarely about who's right. They're about who feels heard. If she feels heard, the problem shrinks. If she feels ignored, it explodes. So instead of reacting, start observing. Ask questions. Can you help me understand what's making you feel this way? That single question does what an entire hour of arguing can't. It moves her from reaction to reflection. Also, don't underestimate silence. Silence used wisely is power. When tension rises, sometimes the best response is no response. Not stonewalling, but intentional calm. It gives both of you space to cool down before words start doing permanent damage. Because words spoken in heat often leave scars that apologies can't fully heal. And when the storm passes, because it always does, that's when you address the logic. Once she feels emotionally safe, she's finally open to reason. That's when you can calmly explain your perspective and she'll actually hear it. It's not manipulation, it's emotional sequencing. Empathy first, logic later. You build the bridge emotionally before crossing it rationally. Men who understand this dynamic don't lose control. They lead with calm authority. They don't get baited into arguments. They redirect them into conversations. They don't silence their partners. They steady them. Because the strongest man isn't the one who raises his voice. It's the one who can lower the temperature of a room with his presence. And when a woman feels emotionally safe with you, everything changes. She becomes softer, more affectionate, more trusting. Because security doesn't come from your words. It comes from your energy. She knows that even in conflict, you won't weaponize her vulnerability. That's what makes her stay. That's what makes her feel chosen. So never argue with a woman. Not because she's impossible to reason with, but because reasoning without empathy is useless. Instead, listen deeply, validate honestly, speak calmly, and hold your ground respectfully. You'll be amazed how quickly walls come down when ego steps aside. At the end of the day, love isn't about proving a point. It's about proving your presence. She doesn't want perfection. She wants peace. And when she looks at you and sees the man who stays calm in chaos, who understands instead of argues, who leads without controlling, she'll trust you in a way no argument could ever earn. Because the truth is, the strongest man in the room isn't the loudest one. It's the one who can look conflict in the eye, stay kind, stay grounded, and say without words, "I'm not here to win. I'm here to understand."